Welcome to Empowerment Consciousness, where you're supported on your evolutionary journey of becoming your authentic, true self. In this video, you'll learn about holistic mind-body medicine and consciousness-based healthcare as a new paradigm of healing the whole person. I'll be explaining the new level of empowerment consciousness and that we have a choice of transforming the stress of our old, outdated survival consciousness to evolve to conscious, co-creative living. And finally, I'll be leading you through the 6 powerful steps to invite empowerment so that you can consciously and co-creatively choose to transform this stress, resolve negative emotions, and change limiting beliefs. You'll learn how to choose from the new integrative possibilities and create an empowered space of being for your body, life, relationships, and the world as a way of consciously contributing to this emerging potential of greater wholeness.
So I'm Deborah Lallier. I have a wellness practice here in Fayetteville at Haymount Healing and Wellness, and I have been practicing over 18 years. I have several credential things, lots of certifications in different modalities, all that are consciousness-based, energy-based, like Reiki Master. I'm an intuitive spiritual director, so I work with the intuitive field to access the information in your body-mind about what needs to happen, what your limiting beliefs and emotions are, and help you begin to transform those things. I'm a certified hypnotherapist and past life regressionist, and I have my certificate of science as the Theta Healing Master Instructor. I'm a holistic empowerment life coach, which is the process that you're going to learn today is starting that out. I practice at Haymount Healing and Wellness, which is about right up the street from downtown Fayetteville, and it is a wellness practice where we teach these workshops. We do private empowerment sessions and healing sessions, as well as teach you to develop your intuitive skills, your healing ability, even meditation. So whatever your goal is, what you need to know about holistic therapies is it really doesn't matter what your goal is. If you're looking for physical well-being, if you're stressed and you have anxiety or depression, or you worry a lot, or you have thoughts that run through your mind that you can't calm, if you're looking for a soulmate, if you want a better career, if you want to be successful in your life, if you're on your spiritual quest, these are all wonderful, valid goals when working with this kind of therapy. I have my doctorate of theology in spiritual healing. I'm an ordained holistic minister, and once again, a lot of therapies that I'm certified in. So this new paradigm that we are working and talking about is holistic healthcare. It's different from what I'm going to call the old paradigm, the old healthcare. The old healthcare was mechanistic based. It was about body parts, fix this part, change that part, cut that part away. And it's a disease model that is not considering the health of the whole person. It also treats people as a group with similar symptoms, get similar treatments by a certain label. That's very different from mind-body holistic medicine, which is, there we go, which is truly a holistic approach, considering body, mind, emotions, and spirit as integral components of your own well-being. So together they form what we call the whole person. So we can't actually separate these parts out. When these things are all balanced and unified together, what I call all of your levels are spiritually integrated, then you're able to develop your greater potential. And even collectively, in mass consciousness, the way we work together as groups, that begins to come together. So the new paradigm of holistic health is healing of the whole person, body, minds, emotion, and spirit, interactive, interpenetrating levels of being, comprising the dynamic of the whole person. When these parts that cannot be separated, but they can lose connection with each other, they can become out of sync. So when they become out of sync in the holistic model, that's what we call disease. That's when disease manifests. You can think of it like a clogged drain. If your body is full of pipelines that are called energy meridians and chakras, When the energy dynamics of the mind-body gets clogged, then it is not allowing the full flow of the infinite potential of the universe, or the energy of the universe, to flow through you. The things that we're looking for then is to establish communication between all levels of the being, between each system, each cell, each atom, restoring this coherent communication where the body-mind knows where its inherent state of wholeness is. Holistic wellness integrates new sciences with ancient wisdom teachings. So we have Western anatomy and physiology. We have the ability of the brain to change and to adapt. We have the connection between thought, emotions, and well-being, psychoneuroimmunology. The influence of thoughts and emotions on the DNA, the new sciences of biology that show that our genes are not deterministic. Our genes are actually influenced by our environment and the way we perceive our environment. And we do that by our thoughts and our emotions. It also uses the principles of quantum physics, the energy dynamics of all the integrated possibilities that are already there in the universe, and the power of observation to call into being what we wish to manifest. It's about the interconnectedness, the holistic nature of the universe, and the evolution of consciousness as a creative force, meaning that consciousness is the ground of all being. It's where spirit comes into form. It's also about the Eastern philosophies, meridians, energy centers called chakras. So we're using the principles of these new sciences and ancient wisdom teachings to naturally restore wellness and health to the whole person. We're working with the innate wisdom, that divine creative life force that runs through all of us, reconnecting to that and allowing that to naturally unfold into being. So we're using conscious, focused intention, creative visualization, and the power of observation to create a new reality. Holistic mind-body medicine understands the psychology of the body and its influence on your health and well-being, addressing the whole person, their whole story, and even the effects of your genetics, mass consciousness, and overall spiritual development to bring about the best possible you. So we're looking for the difference between a diagnostic-based old healthcare paradigm to a holistic understanding of looking for what's underneath the individual stressors, how the person is contributing to the way their life is unfolding. So when that energy is blocked, and it's blocked by your negative thoughts and your emotions, these previous stressors will create the imbalance in your life. So we're looking for environmental, genetic, those epigenetic overlays, mental, emotional, even microbial factors, as we can balance this in holistic wellness. When we're talking about stress even in conventional medicine has been called the silent killer. It's recognized as causing over 85% of illness and disease, affecting 43% of adults with adverse health effects, and attributing to 75 to 90% of all visits to primary health care physicians. We also have a lot of studies out there, correlational studies, about how our thoughts and emotion affect the health of our bodies. We know that positive thinking, positive thoughts, positive feelings give us a better quality of health, better mood states, increased optimism, mental clarity, better mental functioning, more energy, motivation, feelings of interconnectedness, feelings of joy, fulfillment, intimacy, and peace. Even our heart rates are in more coherency when we're in positive thoughts and emotions, as opposed to negative, where we're seeing reverse correlations, poorer health when you think sad thoughts, when you are depressed or anxious. Your thinking, your body emulates your thinking. It sends the neural messages, the neural pathways, the emotions through the molecules of your body, through those transmitters that elicit immune responses that are poor, allergies, food intolerances. That's where chronic pain and inflammation start happening. It is a breakdown in the communication because the system has been clogged with negative, unhappy thoughts. So the quality of our empowering thoughts and positive feelings, as well as how spiritually connected we feel and perceive ourselves to be, affects and highly influences the homeostasis, or the balance of the body, the body's ability to rest, regenerate, and restore. Alternately, poor mental, emotional, spiritual states contribute to mounting stress, through which disease and dysfunction manifest. You know, sometimes we just say, oh, it's just stress, right? Like we don't have a choice. What we need to recognize is that choice is a personal matter. It may be about internal and external stresses as you are perceiving them, but they're your stressors. What stresses me may not stress you. And what I'm particularly good at may be the worst thing for you. So it's an individual state. And once we begin to recognize that we can take power over our stressors, that we can consciously begin to intervene, if we have a technique, which you're going to learn in a minute, to do something about it, then you're going to be more willing and proactive to not just sweep those stressors under the rug. That's my mother's favorite term. She likes to sweep it under the rug. Does anybody know that one, where you just wait until it blows up in your face before you deal with it? Okay, our goal today is to learn a technique that we can deal with our stressors and begin to look at them and feel that we have some power over changing them, and feel how that change can shift and affect our whole well-being. So we need to know that this stress does break down the communication in the body-mind complex. And that communication, remember, is what your body needs to restore itself back to balance. It knows how to do it when you allow it to do that. There's another thing that stress does. Stress blocks your ability to see all the infinite possibilities. What do I mean by that? I mean that the way that we think and feel codes how we see the world. And you know that's an individual. You know, you've seen people who have a positive outlook or a negative outlook, or where they're able to discern where the lemonade is in the lemons. What we're typically consciously aware of is only a small fraction of what's really going on in the world. They say that our brains can process up to 400 billion bits of information per second, but our minds filter it down to 2,000 bits. So if there is a good possible outcome, or a place where the traffic is free, or your spouse isn't yelling at you, you're not able to find it because you've over-constrained your choices down into looking for what you expect to see based on your past choices, your past beliefs, your emotions, and the way you've coded your mind to filter things out. The life we are aware of is what our minds have decided we need to be aware of. And that decision is the result of our unique life conditionings. So the greater part of reality, other possibilities, other opportunities, are simply not observed. They're not noticed, hence they can't be chosen, they can't be acted upon, and they can't be experienced. When we have our thoughts and emotions and they become what I call habituated thoughts and emotions, that's what our subconscious body mind is very good at doing. So I don't know if you know this or not, but your conscious mind, the mind you're sitting here in this room with, is only about 3 to 5% of your mind. 95 to 97% of your mind is your subconscious body mind. Well, you might think that's not a big deal, except that your subconscious programming, by the most part, was installed by the age of 6. And the subconscious body mind is what's really running your show. It's what makes you act like a 3-year-old sometimes when you don't get your way, or when things didn't work out like you wanted. Or it's where you chose a limiting belief that said you shouldn't ask for what you want. You get your hand slapped if you ask for what you want. So when we were young, in order to survive, we simply started making conclusions. We also did what we were told. We also emulated our parents and the way our families were acting, where it wasn't safe to speak out, if you got in trouble, if you talked back. But these became our programming, and they went into our subconscious, and they became the story that we tell ourselves every day, the way that we act in our life. So you know, how many of you know how to drive from your house to the grocery store now? You know that pretty good? You don't have to think about it. Can you cut a piece of meat pretty good and use a fork? Well, that's subconscious programming. You don't have to think about it anymore. It's a reactive nature. It happens automatically. The problem is when you were younger and you put in these programs, they may not be serving you any longer. You might need to speak up now. You really might need to ask for what you want. And you might need to expect to get the love and attention that you truly know you deserve without having to hide your heart and protect yourself. So our job in body-mind medicine is to go back and undo those subconscious programmings, resolve those traumas, and release ourselves to be more conscious in our life so that don't feel victim to those thoughts and emotions as if we don't have any control or influence over them. I'm going to give you an example. Maybe you've seen this before. Take a look at this image. What do you notice? Do you see a young Victorian-looking woman or an old woman? Can you expand your awareness? Can you see both? Do you see how your mind probably chose one or the other based on what you expected to see? There are always more possibilities there than you're aware of. This process you're going to learn today is going to move out your limitations so that you can begin to see what else is possible in your world and take action on it. Transformation frees the body-mind complex and restores health to the whole person. It removes limiting beliefs, transforms negative emotions, released, stored cellular shock and trauma, changes epigenetic overlays, those traumas from our generations back, which is actual fact now. Our genes carry the traumas of our ancestors. It's not just what color eyes we have, how tall we get. It's about war traumas. It's about old stories that are running through our families. These things can be changed with consciousness-based healthcare and should be changed, and is the only way that we're going to move ourselves out of this fear-based paradigm that we're choosing to live through right now. When we remove these filters, the thoughts, the beliefs, the epigenetic overlays, the cellular shock and trauma, we're increasing our awareness. It's truly a transformational approach in that we're not trying to hide those thoughts and emotions anymore. We're actively seeking to use the energy dynamics of the universe. All of the new science about our ability to use our minds, creatively call in new choices, use the power of observation to change a dynamic that we have been so ingrained in that we thought was reality. It's not reality. It's just what you thought reality was. So the empowering part of it is transformational to move this stuff out of your consciousness. You don't need it. You don't need it in any way, and it will only hold you back. It will only keep you in survival mode, just getting by. Transformation allows the body-mind complex to inherently restore itself to that state of wellness. It is your birthright. It is what the universe designed. There is nothing wrong with you at your core level. It is only your thoughts and your emotions and all the past epigenetics and all the past mass consciousness trauma that's happened that causes us to think and feel like we do today. But we have great potential. We're at a time where it's time to change this. So some of the holistic healing results that you can expect from working with empowerment consciousness or a body talk session, Reiki session, healing touch, theta healing runs the gamut from physical, mental, emotional to spiritual healing, from just feeling more relaxed and calm, feeling more in control of your inner state of well-being, having more heart rate coherency so that you're calm and feeling at peace. Noticing where you have mental clarity about your choices, where it's easier to make these decisions to do something different. It'll improve your mood, your outlook, your temperament. It'll give you a positive relationships with others, open your ability to communicate, express yourself, and to listen to other people, to be receptive of what's going on in their lives, their bodies, and sharing that with each other. It'll increase energy and stamina, increase your motivation. Expedited wound healing has been shown after healing touch studies that bones heal faster, surgeries heal faster. Symptoms just simply fade or over time or suddenly disappear. You just don't feel like you used to anymore. You're in a different place. And that's a wonderful feeling. When someone gets off my table and says, wow, I've never felt like this before. This is amazing. I had a story one time. I was at a convention like this and I did a session, a 15-minute session on a woman that had chronic pain. I don't remember what it was called. Well, maybe you will. For 20 years, she had been on supplement. What is that called? When you get, somebody help me. They give you money. All right. Well, she was living on the government because she was in chronic pain. She sat down and she said she'd never been without pain in 20 years. She sat down and in 15 minutes after a session with me, she said she had no pain. You should have seen the look on her face. She was shocked. She couldn't believe she had no pain. She said, I've never been like this before. I have no pain. 15 minutes. All we need to do is train our body-mind not to go back to the old pattern, that we don't need the pain, that we don't need the supplement of what the pain provides for us. We need to simply gain awareness of it. Holistic healing occurs on then many levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. So our goal is to integrate all of those levels together. So now we're on a threshold. We're at a place of holistic wellness expos and healing practices and Oprah talking about this stuff. We've got wonderful speakers who come from all parts of the world to teach us that we're in a new era. We're in a new era of conscious awakening, and it's time to take control of our thoughts and our emotions and stop feeling victim, that we don't have a choice. We do have a choice. Our mind is an amazing gift, but we have not realized how powerful it is. So we're ready to embrace our higher potential to move ourselves individually and collectively. And I know we all want to do this, even in our world. I know you want it in your own lives, but the world's in such a mess. Remember, it has to start at home. We all know that. It has to start within your own being. You transform you, and one life at a time, that exponentially expands across the world. So we can live consciously through the dynamics of empowerment rather than fear, creatively thriving rather than merely getting by, and awakening to the greater spiritual potential. This is a journey of conscious evolution. Its purpose is to elevate, evolve, and expand to your highest potential. Conscious awakening is about freeing yourself from ingrained habits, limitations, and destructive restrictions created through eons of fear-based thinking and feeling. We're expanding how you think and feel so that you can embrace an empowered style of living that will nourish and support, and as you consciously collaborate with higher consciousness, transforming your fears and limitations to live through empowerment, so that you and I can both live in an empowered reality. I call this empowerment consciousness. It's a higher level of expanded co-creative awareness that uses a process called integrated heart-brain processing, which is about using these processes that we've talked about earlier. It'll come on. Conscious choice, positive heart-based feeling states, and the power of observation to transform the past fears and limitations into empowered new realities. This process that you're going to learn uses something called empowerment blueprints. These are transformational processes and fields of energy that are like guiding templates. They hold the potential for a new expression of where we're moving in our conscious evolution. New potentials that you can simply connect yourself to. So it's like unplugging from this radio station and plugging into satellite amazing TV. You don't have to listen to that station anymore. We're now on the place where consciousness is about to shift. I know you've heard this term, that we're shifting, we're changing. we're ready for this awakening. We're ready to elevate and expand into empowerment consciousness. And using the empowerment consciousness process as a way to consciously evolve, to get yourself back in the game, to feel that you're not a victim, to feel that you have choice over things, how to transform your thoughts, how to feel differently, how to stop yourself from judging and running down that same old criticizing trail of not enoughness. Conscious awakening means to awaken from fear and transform awareness from survival to empowerment. So it means letting go of limiting beliefs, lack, fear, limitation, scarcity, poverty, victimization, transform negative emotions like hatred, prejudice, habituated anger, resentment, and sadness, and embracing your spiritual potential of prosperity, joy, abundance, strength, acceptance, and love. We just have to remember we have the choice to become conscious co-creators and create through empowerment rather than through fear. We just need to recognize it's a choice and learn a skill set that helps us no longer have to use our personal will, push to try and change things. When we align with the flow of the universe wants this to happen. It's an evolutionary process of empowerment. It wants you to individuate into your greater potential. That's what you came here to do. All that is required from you is your willingness to change. I could test a lot of you in the room with my muscle testing little thing I do, and I'd find most of you probably don't have a strong willingness to change. Good news is you came this far. You got the message that this might be a place to start, but we need a process that will help you initiate and embody the willingness to change. Most of us are in our comfort zones. We sort of like it. You know, I like my anger. It makes me feel strong and powerful. I like to be mad at that guy. But on some level, your heart doesn't like it. Your mind doesn't like it. And so we need to free ourselves and give ourselves permission to change the old dynamics, the old way of holding back. Each and every moment offers the gift of a new beginning. That's how we need to think about this, right? That's the stuff about the present moment. Only in the present moment can you make a new choice. So our process today is about getting us back in the present moment so we can do a transformational process. We can notice what's bothering us, use a transformational process, and move ourselves through the empowerment blueprints, into a new transformed way of being, where we see new possibilities, where we find places where we can forgive, where we can connect, where we can offer our hearts freely. All that's required is your willingness to change. All right, so how do we do this, right? That's what you came for. How are we going to do this? Now that I hope I've convinced you that change is possible, that moving your mind out of a place of negativity, resentment, anger, frustration, guilt, shame, that this is a good idea. Have I got you so far? Sounds like it should be a good idea. So what we want to do is we want to take charge of our life. We want to do this by gaining awareness, consciously choosing to transform and make a new choice. Oop. So we're going to take charge of your life, get conscious about your thoughts and emotions, no more sweeping under the rug, and we're going to use your free will choice ability to change, to choose to change. So I want to pose to you, since we're going to do the process as a group, I want you to take a moment while I talk to imagine something you'd like to change in your life. Something, maybe it's a habit, maybe it's a way of feeling, maybe it's an old stuck place. Let your higher consciousness sort of inform you now. Okay, let it matriculate in there. Where's something I could change? Where's something I could maybe do better or feel better about? Then we're going to get back to that, so let that bubble. The conscious choice formula that you're going to learn today uses the blueprint, the empowerment blueprint of integrative change to optimize your willingness to change. So first, all you have to do is say, wow, to yourself, Guy, I don't like the way I'm thinking. There goes my mind again. I sure didn't like how stressed I felt in the Starbucks line. I do hate it when people don't do their job right. So you got to notice these things. And once you do that, you have your free will choice to say, I could either keep that and be mad the rest of the day and let it build up. How many of you know that one, right? It's just been a bad day. Well, it's been a bad day because you didn't transform anything. I'm not promising you a perfect life yet, but remember, when you start having these emotions, these thoughts, these beliefs, these reactive patterns where people are triggering you, that's prime time to take hold of your inner nature of how you're reacting to it. And that's where you're going to use the conscious choice formula and allow the blueprint of integrative change to bring about change for you in the best possible way. That's what I mean by integrative. I mean we're going to integrate these levels of being, and we're going to find a better, more empowered way of being in the world. So we'll use this, you can use this technique several times a day to activate your creative imagination, improve your conscious awareness skills, hone your ability to stay in the present moment, while working with higher consciousness to energize the best of all possibilities. So the conscious choice formula is 6 powerful steps to invite empowerment. What we're doing here is noticing how we put a filter on our life, how we prejudge something, how something triggered us, how it made us feel uncomfortable or stressed or angry or resentful. Those are our filters. It didn't necessarily have to be that way. There could be another option. So this process is going to transform your perceptions, the way that you have coded your world, your reality, your personal view of reality, so that you can expand it and take the blinders off, so that you can see other possibilities. Yes, you can always go back to that anger and frustration if you choose, but you can also take the chance to consciously implement a new way of being in your life, where you can notice those new possibilities, new opportunities. So I'm going to give you an overview of the process, and then we're going to do the process. So the first thing are 5 steps. The goal is to make first step is to make a conscious declaration to the infinite universe of your willingness to change. And you do that by simply using the first empowerment question that I'm going to show you in a minute. You're just going to state it. You're going to say, this habit of never changing my anger, this habit of never changing how resentful I feel, this habit of never changing how angry that person made me, this habit of feeling helpless, unappreciated, taken advantage of, this habit that I have to do it, right? So you're going to pose this open-ended question and follow it with a belief in trauma clearing statement that invites the blueprint of integrative change, the healing energy of the universe, the evolutionary flow of the universe to come in and say, okay, are you done with that? Good. Let's help you be done with that. You really mean it. So this is way beyond using your personal will to affect change in your stress level. This is about you getting on board with the energy of the universe that says, hey, this is an evolutionary path. It's time. You've got all the energy, information, and consciousness you need right now to elevate yourself up to a new level of being and to empowerment. So what we're going to do then, after we've done those 2 things, we're going to do the 3 powerful ways of getting your body-mind into the process. You use your conscious choice, and now you're going to be adding those positive emotions, gratitude, grace, joy, and ease, with a positive expectancy that things are going to get better. So you're going to add excitement, exhilaration, and yes feelings to the universe. Yes, universe, you've got this. I'm done with it. Let's go. We're going to use a process called integrating heart-brain integration. It's a tapping mechanism. You need to understand that what's happened is your mind has been routed with those subconscious programmings. And most of us are stuck back in a reptilian brain that's trying to evolve itself into prefrontal cortex, whole brain processing. So when you're tapping on your brain, you're moving your thoughts and your emotions forward and letting it process. So you can get out of fight, flight, or freeze. You can get out of those old ingrained habits. And then you're going to sync this whole brain processing up to heart processing, which is the bigger field, by the way, than your brain. You may think your brain's leading the show, but it's really your heart that you want to get back connected to. When we sync this through the heart-brain integration method, we're going to then use the power of observation to notice a shift within ourselves. So that's where you're going to tune your focus inward and notice if something's changed. What's different? Maybe it's a sigh, maybe it's a shift, maybe you just let go, maybe your head gets spinny for a minute. Whatever you're doing, remember you're letting go of old processing, old thoughts, old ingrained habits, and your mind is rewiring. This is letting go of the old neural pathways and about to open up new pathways for new opportunities. So in this process, we're consciously awakening. We're getting conscious about ourselves to create consciously. To create consciously with the universe, with its intention, its evolutionary flow of doing better. And we're choosing integrative possibilities. All right, this is where I'm going to ask you to remember what you wanted to change. Everybody got something? So what we're going to do is, I'm going to say, the question is on there, it's kind of light, it's the bottom white. Can you see it? It's a little light, so you can just say it kind of along with me. We're going to say this, I'm going to ask you to bring it up in your consciousness. What do you want to change? Get it in, feel it, see it, hear it, sense it, know it, get a hold of it. What do I want to change? This habit of whatever. You got it? Everybody ready? Now I want you to make the statement with me. What integrative possibilities, everybody say it out loud. What integrative possibilities are now available without this habitual restriction of never changing? And you're holding in your mind the pattern you're ready to change. It's a good time to not think about what that should look like or feel like. You're just ready to get rid of it, okay? Then we're going to do the clearing statement. Everything, whatever that stands in the way of that, I now choose to destroy and uncreate it all. After all, you put it in, you can take it out, right? You're going to let yourself say, with gratitude, grace, joy, and ease, it is now done, it is done, it is done. So everybody, let's do that one together. Whatever stands in the way of that, I now choose to destroy and uncreate it all. Add exhilaration, those positive feelings. Thank you. Thank you, universe. Thank you. With gratitude, grace, joy, and ease, it is done, it is done, it is done. You're adding those heart-based positive feeling states, bringing yourself into that creative coherency where new possibilities are emerging. This is where you're energizing it with these positive feelings, syncing yourself with heart-driven feelings. You're going to tap now. You're going to tap with heart-brain integration. So turn your focus inward, meaning don't really think about me or look at me for a while. Think inside your mind, and you're tapping on your head and your heart. You're going to feel something start moving in your body. If you're paying attention to it, where you can witness it and see the change, feel the observation, notice what's different in your body. Just feel it, let it be a breath. Letting go, where you're aligning with the coherency of creation. Observe, notice what's different. Feel something change within you. Now we can do this again. All right, now that you've got the hang of it, we're going to do it again. Bring up your story, whatever that story you were telling yourself that you couldn't change, right? And if you don't want to say it out loud, at least say it in your mind. What integrative possibilities are available to me now without this habitual restriction of never changing this thing? Whatever stands in the way of that, I now choose to destroy and uncreate it all. Add positive feelings. Thank you. Thank you, universe, with gratitude, grace, joy, and ease. It is done, it is done, it is done. Feel and notice the shift in your body. Let your body move. Let your breath let go. Release the pattern. Release the stress. Feel the rush of energy. Notice that your spine is tingling. Maybe you feel lighter. Maybe your head's a little clearer. Maybe you're calmer. We're going to follow it up now. You can do that several times as you're clearing whatever information is coming up to you. And we're going to move into step 6, which is similar. But now that you've moved all that gobbledygook out of the way, you've erased your programming about the problem that you were perceiving, you're now going to invite the universe to show you what else is possible. So this sounds similar, but it's a little different from step 1 because it says, what can I now choose? Right? So say this with me. We're going to follow it with the same heart tapping process. So what integrative possibility can I now choose without this habitual restriction of never changing that other thing? Everything that stands in the way of that, I now choose to destroy and uncreate it all. Thank you. Positive feelings. Remember, that's the coherency factor. Get in the positive. Expectancy. Thank you. With gratitude, grace, joy, and ease. It is done. It is done. It is done. That's just me feeling energy, so y'all just notice. Remember, quantum physics. Observe it. Observe the shift. Notice. Turn your focus inward. I invite you to feel the shift, notice something's different, and invite yourself to perceive these new possibilities in the form of a symbol. I'm going to call it the empowerment symbol. So let your mind show you what a new possibility, the energy, information, and consciousness of that would look like if you let this other pattern go, if you now choose to accept it. Perhaps it's a butterfly. Maybe it's an open field, an open door. Maybe it's white light, but it'll be an expansive place, a place of change, and you want to invite yourself and motivate yourself to choose it. Remember, you've got the free will dynamic. It can be right there as a possibility, but you need to connect to it. So I invite you now to choose your symbol, to find it, to connect with it, to bring it home. Let it rest in you, wherever you feel is important. Let it do its transformative work to connect you over to the new possibilities where you can find these new realities. So you were given a card, hopefully, when you came in. This process is in a free downloadable ebook that you can get from my website, and I encourage you to do that and practice it. You'll get better with it. You'll feel more confident with it. You'll see a lot of evolutionary change in your stress and the way that you're able to manage your life. You'll also get a free 15-minute phone session with me when you download one of these if you call me. And we're doing some sessions in the back. I'll be in the back at Haymount Healing and Wellness, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have. And thanks for coming out today.